Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Rambling Through Everyday Life with Fran and Angela. My name is Fran, and I am one of the co-hosts for this podcast. We are so thankful for you always. And y'all, I don't know. I think the last two episodes, the one with Angela Cottrell and the one with Amy Hale, if you have not listened to those or watched those on our YouTube channel, they are a mandatory listen or must watch. We're so proud of those episodes and just so thankful for strong guests that can encourage us and cheer us on, because that's who we are and that's what we're about. And we're going to do that again today, but it's just Angela and myself. This is more of just our general rambling back and forth about all the things, y'all. You just don't know what you're going to get. Enjoy the show. We love you so much. Have a great day, everybody. Okay, Angela, it's a fun day back in the studio. We've had a couple of episodes where we were not in the studio or by Zoom or whatever, but today it's just me and you.
It is, and you know, we missed being in the studio because of snow.
Yeah, no, listen, y'all, for anybody that listened to all our episodes, I said we talked about snow like we got feet upon feet upon feet of snow, and we didn't, but we loved it so much, and it was fun to talk about it.
Well, and it's rare in
rare.
West Tennessee, and now today it's 65 degrees and sunny, and that groundhog in 2 days better not fail us.
Oh, I didn't.
He better not let us down.
I didn't think about that.
I'm ready for warm weather.
Today is a perfect day for wishing for spring. I'm done with winter.
That's right.
Okay, so here we are. This is fun, Angela, because as we even talk right this minute, we are recording a live TikTok.
Fran, we are on TikTok. What in the world?
I don't know. Avery knows because she's been around me long enough to know that Avery's one of our students that I know and love, and she's filming this right now. But I love TikTok. This is the inner young person that comes out in me that I want to do all the dances. And I think I can, and I love it all so much. So it's just funny to be saying that we're recording this right now live on TikTok at our age, for crying out loud.
You need to be doing all the dances because you have good dance moves, and we need to see them more. I have none. Where Fran was a cheerleader, I have the cheerleader epic fail tryout story for another day. But I do not need to be dancing on TikTok. But it's fun to do other things on TikTok.
It's just
too.
fun. You can do a lot of things on TikTok. It's not just a one size fits all. So I hope we're not obnoxious, but who cares?
Yeah, who cares? They're a very forgiving, grace-filled community.
They are.
We love it on TikTok.
Okay, so if you are on the TikTok, be sure and follow us. How do they find us on TikTok, Angela?
We are Rambling Through Life.
Yeah, we can't be rambling through everyday life because, they've only got to allow you 4 characters or whatever for it to fit.
That's right.
So, Rambling Through Life.
Rambling Through Life.
Okay.
We're there.
Okay.
We are on TikTok.
Okay, so this is an episode, Angela, where I have no idea what we're talking about today.
Well,
this does not scare me. It scares you.
No.
It doesn't?
No.
Okay.
This is fun.
Okay.
This is who we are. This
Okay.
is how we ramble. Okay. First of all, let's just get a little caught up on
Okay.
things that we're watching, things that we're doing in life.
Okay.
What are you watching right now on TV?
Listen, I'm about to show you my lack of no. I'm about to reveal a little bit about who I really am. I just finished on Netflix both seasons of Cheer.
Oh, I love Cheer.
I cannot tell you how much I loved that series, that show. I was obsessed with it. I was the cheerleader in high school, and so I watched them from that perspective and be like, oh my gosh, y'all are just killing it as a sport. But then there's good storyline, and oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank. What's the name of the coach? Monica. I mean, she's a great, strong leader. So I'm learning messages from her. Huge Cheer fan. And when Navarro College lost in Daytona at the end of season 2, I died. I cried.
Aww.
Tears. There's season 2 is if you've watched it, you're going to know what I'm talking about.
I've not watched season 2 yet.
There's some tough things in there.
Okay.
There's some tough storylines in there.
I saw some headlines that made me wonder how they would pull that in.
But anyway, I loved it. So that's what I've watched. Now I've asked everybody, what do I need to watch on Netflix? I'll watch anything. I will watch something. I love a documentary. I love a series. I love things like Cheer. I love Apple TV. I've watched Ted Lasso. Anyway,
Have
I
y'all
don't know.
watched Yellowstone?
No,
It's so good.
I
Yellowstone.
know. I don't know why, but there's something that, and it doesn't have anything to do with the language and stuff, but there's just something that's not drawing me into it.
It's hard for my husband and I to find something we both can
Yeah.
watch together.
Yeah.
But I will say it's very graphic.
Yeah.
And I watch
graphic about, like, in what way?
violence.
Against people?
There's violence. Yeah, times are tough out in the West.
Right.
I'm not endorsing any of these things for,
Are we killing
moral,
people?
moral Christian purposes. Oh yeah, lots
Okay.
of that.
What time era are we talking about?
Well, there's 1883. That's the spinoff that goes way back.
I did not know that.
And then
Okay.
Yellowstone is modern day.
Okay.
But anyway,
I don't know. I'm interested, but I'm not.
yeah.
I don't know.
That's okay.
Anyway.
That's okay. Okay. Wordle.
Yes.
Let's talk about Wordle. Are y'all
Okay.
addicted to Wordle yet?
Okay. If it wasn't for the people that I follow on Twitter, I had no idea that Wordle was a thing. And so some of my favorite people started playing. Well, a couple of my work people were also playing. And so, listen, you just tell me one time. It's like, we need to go do whatever. And I'm going to say yes 99 and a half times out of 100. And it could be ridiculous. It could be almost borderline criminal. But I'm going to be
Lawyer.
but I'm going to be
Lawyer
like,
alert.
yes,
Yes.
let's go do that. So they start talking about Wordle, and I'm like, what the heck is Wordle? And so
What is Wordle, if people don't know?
I think Wordle is, I'm not good at stuff like this, but it feels to me like it's like Wheel of Fortune, but better, harder. I don't know.
It's hard.
It is hard. And yesterday I was proud of myself. I got it on the third try. Like, the first row, second row, and then the third row, ding, 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 ding.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it told me that I was not perfect.
Well, it should have.
It
It should have said you're perfect. Listen, my first Wordle experience, my husband found it before I did, which is funny to us because I used to love Scrabble
Yeah.
and make him play Scrabble, and he hated it. So he's been playing Wordle. I just found it a few days ago.
Yeah.
Well, I put in all five letters. Put in 5. They were all wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So
And you kind of go, you
One
go
was
back
right.
to Wheel of Fortune, and you're like RSTLNE.
Yes.
But that's not a word.
So one of them was right. I said that wrong. One of them was right, but in the wrong place. So Carl comes and looks over my shoulder and is like, oh, try this. Boom. It was the word.
Wow.
I fell over.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what? He had already done the puzzle that
Oh,
morning.
well,
He
we-
cheated.
Yeah.
But he made me think that he was just really a genius.
And I
I'm
didn't
sure
know
he is.
that. I didn't know that, everybody's got the same word.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, that's kind of scary because people are going to cheat or, tell
Yeah,
you what the
he
word
did.
is. Carl
He
Snyder.
Cheated. He cheated.
That's all right.
Anyway.
Okay,
He
fun.
he had his moment of genius.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you like to hear about the swan?
Listen.
I have a swan story.
Okay. Okay. Here's one of those things that Angela lives on, I don't know, I'm exaggerating and don't correct me because I want to exaggerate, but you might as well live on 1 million acres out in the country.
Yes.
And you have a venue where we have weddings. There's a pond, land for days where people can hunt. I mean, it is exactly what you picture in Tennessee and all of those things. And so you've got all these different animals. I can't keep up with what you have, what you don't have, what we used to have, what's brand new. But the swans are real. The swans are near and dear to a lot of people's hearts. And so you might as well be talking about one of your kids when you start talking about, well, let me tell you what the swan did.
Yes.
Okay, so
It's like a baby.
it is like a baby. They're just people junior. Okay.
So the daddy is Mick Swagger.
Mick
There's
Swagger.
a whole story. I don't have time for all these stories, but Mick Swagger, swan's mate for life, and his original wife got eaten. Very sad. Pond froze over.
Yellowstone.
We couldn't rescue her in time. Awful. So we got him a new wife. Arranged marriages do not often work immediately. There was this whole big ordeal on how we had to help them along in their relationship. He tried to kill her. He tried to break her neck. Essentially, for a while.
mean.
Yeah, he is mean, but protective. He's
Okay.
protective.
Well, that's a nice way to say it.
So eventually, they fall in love. Took a couple of years.
What's her name? She didn't have a name?
The first one was Eden. This one's Sapphire. I don't know
Sapphire.
why my son chose Sapphire. She's very white. He named her something very blue.
Mick, Swagger, and Sapphire are a couple.
And they finally, it takes a few years before they can have babies. This was a big deal. They finally laid eggs. They finally had babies. We've had this whole following of everybody checking on these little swan babies. It's been a very big deal to all of us. So Carl, my husband, it was 8 degrees. It was one of the snow days. It was 8 degrees. He goes outside to feed the swans, and only Carl would notice this. It was so cold, my eyeballs wouldn't even function outside. But Carl, out of the corner of his eye, notices that one of the swans is not coming up to where he put the food.
Okay.
The swan stayed on the water. So Carl goes all the way down there. He's a bird man. He just knew. So he goes and checks on this swan, and next thing I know, he's got the swan in his arms in my house, and the swan is like gasping.
So a swan, he has picked up the swan.
Huge bird.
And not afraid to do that.
No,
and
he's not.
The swan let him.
Well, the swan was in distress.
Okay. And carry and the distance from the water to your house is not just like right around the. I mean, it's
like 100 yards.
It's 100 yards.
Yeah.
And I wish that was on video.
I wish it was too.
And just what are you doing? Getting ready for work and
Yeah.
oh hey honey.
I'm just living my life, and I'm not. I love them from a distance. I don't like beady eyes. I don't like birds hissing at me. I don't like wings. They're very strong. Anyway, so Carl brings this swan into my house. I also don't like things using the bathroom in my house that aren't potty trained. This swan comes in my house in this box. I could smell something. There were all kinds of things going on. The swan is gasping. The swan is choking on something. We called every vet we could call. Nobody wants to talk about exotic animals. They would not help us. We even had a retired professor from Union. Somebody gave us their number, got voicemail, called our local wildlife resource.
Yeah.
place.
Was this a weekend or a weekday?
This was a weekday.
Okay.
But long story short, Carl is, finally he calls the man we got the swans from, and they say, you have to massage it out of his neck.
I'm sorry. What? You have to massage it out of his neck. Does he know how to do this? In some weird way he does.
Well, he required my assistance. So I need y'all to imagine my husband telling me that I have to come bear hug a swan with strong flapping wings with nervous swan diarrhea squirting everywhere. And I'm holding this thing down, and I'm terrified that this thing is going to bite me, even though he has no teeth, and my husband's hand is all the way down his throat.
Angela, what time of day is all of this taking place?
Early morning.
Oh, my gosh. Excuse me while I have a sip of coffee here.
I'm not fully caffeinated at this point, and it really didn't matter. So Carl is able to remove some things, some grass, but he could tell there was something else in the swan's throat.
Just stick his hands down his throat?
Yes.
Okay.
And then he said, I need something with a hook. So I'm like looking for pliers. I'm looking for tweezers. I'm scared tweezers are going to fall down his throat. We even looked at the vacuum cleaner and thought for a minute about putting the vacuum cleaner hose down the swan's throat. We did not know what to do.
What is he making a sound?
He was gasping, and he was getting relief when we were pulling some of the. I say we. I did nothing to
Well,
help.
you were. Yes, you were. You were holding him.
I was holding him. So anyway, we eventually. I found I don't even remember the name. They were in Millington, Tennessee, a clinic an hour away, and they said, "Get him here. We'll help you." I just kept calling anybody I could find.
Buckle up, baby. Here we go.
Long story short, $400 later, the swan had swallowed some fishing line.
Where'd the fishing line come from?
Who knows? Somebody had fished in the pond, and apparently, I don't even know.
Okay,
I would be guessing.
So Carl says, well, we're going to have to get in the truck.
Yeah.
Me and the swan. There's got to be a way we've got to share this video.
Well, Carl made a TikTok inspired by us.
Okay.
We've actually inspired one person on TikTok. My husband made a TikTok of him and the swan, and we will figure out how to share it here because it's the funniest thing.
It is the funniest thing. He's just sitting in the front seat.
Well, at this
with
point,
a seatbelt on.
At this point, the swan is full of anesthesia.
How did he get anesthesia?
Well, from the vet. So he made the video when they were coming home.
Okay. Oh, that's right.
And
that's
the
right.
swan had been
But
knocked
getting
out.
him there, how did he get him there?
The swan was in a big Rubbermaid box, just a big tote.
And
big
did
plastic
not have
tote.
any desire to get out.
He
He knew he couldn't.
I think he was hurting enough.
Okay.
So Carl, the next day, thought, you know what? The swan has loved on me. I saved his life. Now we're going to be friends. This is fantastic. So it's 20 degrees. It's a little bit warmer. And Carl goes down to the water to check on the pond, on the swan. Well, the daddy, Mick Swagger, starts hissing angrily.
Mean as a snake, I'm telling you.
Chased him back up the hill. So Carl looks at the dad like, you know, you little ingrate, I saved your kid's life. Well, then the other swan that he saved just is not having anything to do with him. And Carl said it really hurt his feelings. And then almost instantly he realized, you know what? I do the Lord the same way every single day. He saved my life, and I just act like no big deal. So the swan got spiritual for a minute.
So how is
But
the swan now? Is he okay?
The swan is okay with one exception. We realized in the middle of this that the swan does not have a name.
Well, yeah, because I'm sitting here thinking we haven't called him anything.
Right. And when you spend $400 at the vet and have a near-death experience, the swan needs a name. So you and I were laughing about what the swan name could be.
That's
it needs
right.
to be a survivor name because the
Yes.
swan is a survivor.
Yes.
So I immediately thought Destiny's Child, I'm a survivor, or Reba, I'm a survivor. So we need y'all's help. Is it Destiny or is it Reba? We need y'all to help us figure this out.
Is it a boy or a girl?
A girl?
A girl.
Those would be terrible boy names.
I know, because I was like, we don't. Okay.
It is a girl.
Okay,
So,
it is a girl.
and she's a survivor.
She is a survivor, and she's going to be okay.
She's going to be okay.
I'm sure everybody has experienced that in their lifetime.
Oh, my goodness. So, yeah.
Welcome to owning a farm.
Right?
Uh-huh.
Never a dull moment.
Never a dull
and
moment.
there's always some kind of lesson from
And
time on the
I
farm.
hate it that Daddy is so mean.
Well, he's protective.
And so that's just the way he is.
yeah.
Okay.
He always thinks Carl is after his woman
Oh.
because Carl brings food. So he's the meanest to Carl. He's really not mean to anybody else.
Bless.
But he thinks my husband wants his woman.
Okay. Well, there you have it, people. That was a
Yeah.
lot of fun.
Wasn't that fun?
I would have died. Died. Absolutely. I'm not holding a bird. I'm
Yeah.
not. I mean, I want them to live, but I would be screaming and so scared the whole time that
I
that
was.
bird is going to kill me.
I was. I grew up in the city. I'm not good at any of these
Yeah.
things 25 years later,
Yeah.
but the swan's alive. My husband's a hero.
The only thing that we've ever had traumatic in our house with an animal was, I don't remember, it's been years, 10 years ago. I was upstairs and I heard Chip, my husband, throw something to the ground. And I thought either something is broken or what did he throw on the ground? And we had a baby copperhead
No.
at the bottom of our stairs.
In your house.
Inside my home. A baby copperhead just all curled up.
Where's the mama copperhead?
Where's the mama? So anyway, we had to call a neighbor because we are not like Carl. Like we panic and run and like, I don't know what
Burn the house
burn
down.
the dang house down. And so we had to call a neighbor, and that neighbor, this is what you do if you ever have a baby copperhead in your
do?
house, a snake. He got the things off the grill, the tongs, your big extra long, and just went down and scooped up that copperhead, took it outside, got a shovel, cut the head off. That was the end of that. Had to pay somebody an arm and a leg to come out the next day to look for the mom.
Wow.
Had to have certain parts of the house sealed so that if another snake were to ever get in. So that just traumatized. I'm like, I'm done, people.
yeah.
I ain't saving nobody.
Every time I look at my vacuum cleaner, I think I'm so. Can you imagine if we had tried to stick that vacuum cleaner down the swan's throat? But in that moment of crisis, you're
Yeah.
like, whatever I have to do.
I think it's precious that you wanted him to live.
Who
wanted
knows
her to
swan
live.
CPR?
Okay, well, that's
Certainly
a fun
not us.
story.
Okay.
Okay, what next? Now what are we going to talk about? Everything else is going to be
Well,
stupid.
true to who we are, we have to swing from super ridiculous to super spiritual.
Okay.
You ready for the whiplash?
Yeah.
Here it comes.
Here we
okay?
go.
I'm going to read you a quote.
I'm getting focused.
Focus.
Okay.
I'm going to read you a quote that you sent me, and I want you to speak into it.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
You ready for this?
I hope I remember it.
Fran wisdom.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. This
Okay.
is a Beth Moore quote.
Okay.
I cannot caution you enough, Christian leaders in your 20s and 30s, or with more genuine love and concern, to be deeply merciful to people in word and in deed. Be very, very slow to condemn, cancel, and claim what you would never do, especially publicly. you have hardly begun to be tested.
Yeah. Oh, that's a word.
Isn't it?
That's a word. And I work with college students, and so I love this age so much. So when I'm talking about this, I'm thinking about 18 to 22, 23, 24-year-olds, because those are the people that I'm closest to. And so I think what the caution, yes, is be very careful what you say on social media. Be very careful about what you say face to face, because we've all done it.
Mm-hmm.
There are things that I said in my 40s that I think you had no business. You did not know what you're talking about. And so I think in this world of just, if we're not careful, we can easily be a part of let me be a part of some kind this division, and that we're right and you're wrong, or I believe this but you believe that, and so I'm right and you're wrong, and it's this way, this is the way. And I'm not talking about Jesus is the way. Just things that you just are so sold on, and that we have the audacity on social media, in our arrogance, we just think, I am so right, and they are so dumb, and they don't know. Listen, unless you're Betty White and live to be that old, you have to be very careful about what you say. I would never, that is ridiculous, I don't support that or believe that, because if I know anything to be 100% true, as you age, not only do you get experience, of course, because I'll be 52 in a week. I'll be 52 in 7 days. And so not only are you getting experience, but your beliefs evolve. Your thought processes change. There were things that I look back on that I was so adamant about, and especially when it came to my kids. And then you grow and you get some experience, and life just begins to shape you and change you, and your beliefs and your thoughts about certain things are going to change, and that's okay. So we don't need to be so quick to cancel, cut off, get rid of, make claims that things and people and ideas are ridiculous, because that's just silly.
Think about when our kids were little, and we're like, or before you had kids, and you saw other people's kids, you're like, my kids will never.
Oh, listen,
that's
that
exactly what
yeah,
they did.
Don't ever let that come out of your mouth. It's it's ridiculous. And anyway,
when you look back at that young college age, what do you remember about, like, can you think of anything that changed that you just laugh at, that you thought or believed, and then what was true from then to now?
Listen, I'm probably about to, I don't know, maybe not upset some people, but I think if you have high school students and you've raised them the best that you can, of course we all are trying to do that. You've raised them up in the church. You've raised them to believe A, B, C, and D. You've raised them to think and to be compassionate and to have a servant's heart and to be kind and all those things. You want them to love the Lord. You want them, all this stuff. And then if their plan is to go to college and they leave your house, well, then some of that, like, preciousness and that beautiful stuff that you just think, I've just worked so hard and raised them in this, and then it gets tested. And they have to learn some things, and they're going to fall. You cannot protect your kids from the world. It is absolutely impossible, no matter how good you've raised them, regardless of what type of institution they go to. I mean, my kids have all gone to a Christian university. The world still exists. You cannot release them into that and just assume that they are never going to get hit by the world, whether you're talking about moral decisions, what they're going to do with alcohol or sex or drugs or skipping class or whatever it is, not going to class. It's just going to happen. But I will say this, that at least in the Christian context of higher ed, is that as a whole, we will pick them up and be a part of some restoration. That is our goal.
That's beautiful.
That is our goal. But a parent just needs to just understand that the world's going to hit them. And even the parent needs to decide how they're going to respond when their child falls, because they are. I've said it a million times. They're going to fall academically. They're going to fall socially. They're going to fall relationally. They're going to make decisions that you wish they wouldn't have made. I don't know to what level and what degree, but you cannot keep the world away from your kid. And so what do we do with that? It's a hard thing to swallow because, I mean, you think about your daughter, Kaylee, who's a freshman. You want that image of Kaylee when she still lived in your house.
Right.
You want that to be her for the next 4 years. She just kind of grew up a little bit. But the world is coming at her and after her, and these 4 years are going to be rough. They're just going to be hard. And so it's a hard thing to want to believe that as parents, but it's the truth. Mm-hmm. And it's just going to be in how we love them and pick them up when we are even aware of how the world has come at them. Because a lot of times you're not going to be aware. You're not going to know how the world has hurt them.
Well, and I'm realizing that when I swoop in and try to fix it, I'm a fixer. I am the first one to try to manipulate, fix, protect. You know, in my mind, I think, well, I'm protecting her from something, but I've got to get out of God's way and let her learn the lesson and let Him be her Savior, and not interfere. So, as a parent with good intentions, I'm getting in the way and causing a bigger mess.
Well, their whole life, we wanted to tell them, just do this and do this and do this, and everything's going to be okay. And that works for a little while when they're in middle school, maybe, and then with each year that goes by, they're testing it and they're testing it and they're testing it, which is what we're all doing. Yeah. I mean, every single one of us are screwing up. I am no different than an 18-year-old. My sin just looks different. I'm not being tempted by the things that these college students are. I've gone through all that. That is not my thing anymore. It was definitely my thing for a long period of time. But now my sin just looks different. So I'm no different than them. And I hope that you, Angela, I hope that people have people in their lives that when I fall, you're there to pick me up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, one more
quote.
Did
that even answer the dang question?
Absolutely it did. Absolutely it did.
Okay.
Okay, one more quote.
Okay.
You got one more in you?
Okay, maybe.
This is from She Reads Truth. This is really good too. And you and I talked about it a little bit.
We did, because I don't remember.
It's been a while.
Okay.
If the disciples had been running Jesus' ministry, the Samaritan woman at the well never would have been saved.
Yeah. Yeah.
Talk about that for just a minute.
Well, I think I'm learning. I'm spending a lot of time lately thinking about how did Jesus love people.
How did Jesus love people?
How did Jesus? Yeah, because here's what we know. We know that in our flesh that we can sit here and say, I'm compassionate. I want that person to know the Lord. I hate it that part of the world has hit them and life is hard, whether it's decisions they've made, the way they've been raised. But when the rubber really meets the road and you encounter somebody that you don't understand, that is very different from you, that maybe has sin that you cannot resonate with, that we're going to judge. We are. And so I think about the woman at the well. I mean, she's just the absolute best in how Jesus just, he loved her. He met her exactly where she was, loved her, told her truth. But who is it that when we tell truth to, they say, I want you to know the person, this Jesus, that knows me better than anybody, that loved me enough to call it out, but I was still welcome with them. You know, I mean, we have to work really hard to know how to do that. And I think the greatest way that we learn how to do that, and it doesn't just become oh, well, I need to do this and I need to remember this, is we've got to put ourselves in situations where we are around people that challenge us in that way. I know for you as an attorney, you are with people that have challenging situations. For me, I learned how to do that through jail ministry and through the mission field. And so I don't want to judge. I catch myself real quick in a default, or when I catch myself defaulting to judge, it's like, no, ma'am. You have no right to say, well, you're an idiot. What were you doing, thinking you were going to go murder somebody?
Right.
Like, you can't. And I just think we have to go and we have to know the heart of Jesus. We've got to know him. If we aren't sure how to love people and how to treat the body of Christ, we've got to go spend some time in the Gospels.
And remember the salvation that we experience.
Yes.
We forget our rescue.
That's right.
And my job keeps me humble.
Yes.
Let me say that. As an attorney this morning, a lot of y'all saw my post and prayed. I had a situation where regardless of my legal knowledge, I knew I was so in over my head because there is a family with a child at stake. And that's oftentimes the case.
Right.
You've got a judge making a decision, and I was flat on my face. Just, this is how we fight our battles. I found a scripture verse. I clung to it. I got you involved. Everybody on social media that would pray, I just, vaguely put it out there. But we've got to stay in the Word. We've got to know where our power comes from, and we've got to claim it like we believe it.
Well, the disciples were people. They were broken people. Jesus was not a broken person.
That's right.
And so they had to watch him.
Right.
They had to follow his lead there. And so I hate, remember back in the whenevers, what would Jesus do? Well, I mean, it's true.
Yeah.
What would Jesus do with that situation, that person, that decision? What would he do?
Bring the bracelets back.
Bring the
Fran.
bracelets back.
Well,
Okay.
that's good. That
What
is
else?
good. We got to love God and love people.
That's right.
I don't know what else to
God.
say beyond
Love God
that.
and love people. That's right.
Well, this was good.
Are we done? You got nothing else?
I think we've
on your
covered
list?
I think we've covered a lot.
Angela, we did cover a lot. People are probably like, oh my God, we've gone from swans to Jesus and
Back again.
cheer season.
That's what we do. That's where we shine. Ridiculous, spiritual, and back again. Yep.
Okay, everybody, this was a lot of fun. As always, we love having you listen to Rambling Through Everyday Life with Fran and Angela.
Next week,
Yes.
y'all.
Oh, I almost forgot.
We have got a New York Times bestselling author. You do not want to
Nope.
miss her interview.
It's so fun.
So fun.
It's so fun. That's right. Okay, everybody, thanks for listening. Have a great day. We'll see you next time.
If you love this podcast, help us keep great, high-quality content by leaving us a rating and a review wherever you listen to podcasts. Be sure to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode and have access to all of our prior recordings, and it also helps other people find us. Be sure to share us with a friend, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rambling with Fran and Angela, and find us on Facebook and Instagram under Rambling Through Everyday Life. Thanks so much for listening, and we hope you will join us again next week.